Hollywood, City of Dreams, crown jewel of America's film industry. A horror film made about a mummy is created. Many years later, Universal Pictures wants to revive this movie, but it comes back different. Set in Thebes, a priest named Imhotep, keeper of the dead, is in love with the pharaoh's wife, Anck-su-namun. He has decided to risk life itself for their forbidden love. Killing the pharaoh, Imhotep flees and Anck-su-namun kills herself before the guards could stop her. Imhotep then broke into the crypt and stole her body. He took her to Humunaptra, city of the dead, where he brought the Black Book of the Dead. He tried to bring Anck-su-namun's soul back from the dark underworld, but before the ritual was finished, the Phantom's guard stopped him. For Imhotep, the greatest of curses was placed upon him, the Hom Dai. He was mummified alive, buried alive, kept alive for all of time, cursed. For if he was to be released, he would be a plague upon the earth. 3,000 years later, an adventurer named Rick O'Connell finds Humunaptra and leads a few others to the city. Evelyn and Jonathan are there, followed by another team of American explorers. They have all disturbed the tomb of Imhotep, and for that, they have to pay the ultimate price. For 29 years, I have stood watch in movies and shows, protecting others from the evils out there. Now I must find out if the mummy is worth it. Hey guys, Lytane here. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. It means a lot to me when people watch it, so thank you very much. Now, this movie is considered a remake of the original 1932 movie, The Mummy, where that was a very slow build movie with a lot of suspense. This is an action-packed horror film, and aside from a couple of names like Imhotep, they really have nothing in common. Well, they do both star a mummy, I guess, so yeah. Totes the same. The main star of the film is Brendan Frasier. Oh man, he was in his prime here with that swashbuckling look he's got going on. I was sad that he disappeared from screen for a while, but I'm also really happy that he's back to acting and he's sort of in the forefront, so that makes me pretty happy. He plays the rogue, so even though he is a good guy in the film, he does some questionable things throughout, so he's a little bit of an anti-hero. This is contrasted with Evelyn, played by Weisz, another actress in her prime, as she is a goody two-shoes that is prone to accidents and mischief. Then we have Arnold Vosloo, who plays the mummy, and he can be summed up in one word: commanding. He absolutely steals every scene that he is in. When he is on screen, his presence is threatening, it's menacing, and you can't help but watch him. Throughout the film, he only speaks in Egyptian and Hebrew because that was the language of the slaves when he would have been alive, so nice little continuity right there. Because of this, he is a man outside of his time, but he doesn't give a fudge about it. He's not wondered by the marvels of technology or anything. He has a clear motivation. He wants to revive Anck-su-namun, and that's it. That's exactly what he's doing, and that is exactly how he's going to go about it. He does not care about anything around him. He's a very one-dimensional thought character like that, but you can't help but get invested in him because he is played so well. Every time he comes onto the screen, he feels threatening. Every time he speaks, you're like, wow, this guy is not from here, but he's just owning everything around him because he is like royalty back then, so he's just used to everybody obeying him. And because of that, you just really get sucked into him and his character. The set design is also very well done, with each place looking like Egypt, and the areas all have a distinct feel to them, as does the costumes. This film has a mix of different genres as well, with a PG-13 rating, and they handle the mix very well. There is a lot of humour in the film mixed with a lot of action and horror. But I would say the horror elements are where a lot of the creativity lies. In order to keep that lower rating, most of the gore is not shown on screen. Instead, we get to see shadows, hear sounds, and see the aftermath. This plays on our imagination with enough to make it scary, but not enough to get a higher rating. Because of this stylistic choice, I think it still holds up to this day. That's not to say that all of the effects hold up. Now, this movie came out in 1999, which is the infancy of CGI, so they were having a little bit of difficulty, but they were also using it practically everywhere. So some of the things did not age too well. I don't particularly like the bugs that are around in the film. They just kind of look really fake, and they don't really look like they're there, especially when they're on the people's bodies and people are going, and they're just missing the bug and stuff. It just looks really, really awkward. Also, that sandstorm piece, which is really impressive, but also a little bit lame at the same time. It just looks kind of cheap. It just looks really funny and goofy when the giant face comes out of it and stuff. Like, it was impressive for the time, but now it just kind of looks a little goofy. But that's not to say all the effects are bad. Some of them are actually still really good. I particularly like the mummies that come out towards the end of the film. They look pretty cool. And of course, Imhotep gets a mixture of CGI and practical effects when he is halfway transformed also into his human form. So at one point in the film, he's got like, you know, mummified cheeks and stuff like that. And it looks really cool. There's a scene as well where a bug comes out and it goes into the side of his mouth and then he eats it. Just looks really lame. It does not look good at all. But I get why they did that. They just wanted to show like something going out and going into his face, which is a cool idea. It just looks really lame. Oh yeah, all those locusts towards the middle point of the film when Imhotep gets woken up, those also look lame. There's a few lame things. But then there's also some good things. So take what you will. Some good, some bad. Some did not hold up, some did. The action, though, does hold up, with many fun fights and humour throughout. A good majority of the fights are with guns, and there is very little blood in order to keep that rating. One guy even gets set on fire, shot multiple times, but he still doesn't even look too bad at the end. Honestly, he should have looked a lot worse. My favourite scene though is towards the end, when Rick is fighting the CGI mummies. Obviously they aren't there, but the choreography here is excellent. Apparently Brendan Frasier had spent hours upon hours working it out on set and made a lot of the moves up himself. He got it down so well that he could do the same thing in every take. And it shows as well with just how tight that scene is, it all flows really well. Amidst all that action and horror, there's also some humour to keep that tension light. There are so many great jokes and scenes in this film. One of my favorites is when they're on a boat and it is being attacked by the bad guys and it is on fire and it is sinking. It's turmoil everywhere. And one of the bad guys that's on Rick's team, he goes up to Rick and he's just like, "What should we do? What should we do?" And Rick's just like, "Stay here, I'll go get help." And then he jumps off the boat because it's sinking. And the guy stands there and waits until he realizes, oh, this guy's had me and he's just trying to keep me on the boat because he doesn't like me. It's one of those scenes, like the beats are really, really well done and it's just funny. But it's not all just wordy, witty dialogue, there's also some slapstick as well. There's a scene where they're putting some ropes together and, I don't know, doing some excavating, and Hassan is standing next to him, that bad guy, and Rick's just like whipping the rope into him, and he knows he's doing it, and the guy's like, nah. It's just so, it's so silly, but it's a bit of fun, and that's the whole point of it, is just to have a little bit of fun. So even though I was having fun, and this is a silly movie, that doesn't mean I don't have a lot of questions. Why did Anck-su-namun kill herself at the start? She could have easily said someone came through the balcony or something and then gotten away with murder. Furthermore, she could have just escaped with Imhotep. I don't know why she had to die in the first place. I mean, if they were going to live in exile anyway, what does it matter? Why the hell did they make Imhotep immortal? Why would you give the scourge of the universe a way to not only come back from the dead, but with superpowers and plagues? That's just begging for disaster. How stupid could you be? If they had just regular killed him, then that would have been fine, but we wouldn't have got a movie though. Why are the bugs still alive despite being thousands of years old? I actually know the answer to this one thanks to the internet. They are immortal because they were eating an immortal, so made them semi-immortal. They can still die, but they don't die of old age. It's not in the movie, so I still think it's a valid question. Who the hell picked up all those bookcases? Sure wasn't Evie all by herself, and it was done because when we go back there later, it's all put back together. That would be impossible for one little British lady to do. It was made clear that Imhotep can't be around cats because they guard the underworld or something, so then why not give a cat to all the remaining people that he's trying to kill? It would keep the beast at bay so they wouldn't be sucked out and killed, and he wouldn't be able to revive himself. It makes perfect sense, but they don't do that. In fact, there is a scene where Rick shows a cat to the guy in order to save Evie. I'm like, why didn't they just keep the cats on them at all times after that? It's a perfect weapon. Why do the Magi suck at their jobs? They are supposed to protect Humunaptra and stop Imhotep from getting out, and they let 2 different groups enter within a couple of years, and the second time they just say, get out or else. Completely unprofessional. Also, why doesn't this guy have a name in this movie? His name's in the credits and it's in the sequel, but they never mention it once, so I have no idea what to call him. How did this guy wake up to say my favorite line in the film? No, you must not read from the book! How is this safe? Why would that even work? In my opinion, I think that The Mummy is worth it. It is a very good film. There is so much variety here. The action is all very good and very exciting. The humor is hilarious for the most part, and the horror elements have aged fairly well thanks to a lot of them being practical effects or off-screen effects, so you have to use your imagination. Imagination always holds up well. There are also so many quotable lines in this film, like the whole "no, you must not read from the book." I say that all of the time, even out of context. It's great. This is also one of my girlfriend's favorite films of all time, and so I had to say it was worth it or else. We watched it together with her sister, and we were having so much fun. We were laughing, making fun of the movie with all those questions that I had at the end of this review. But the fact of the matter is that we had fun, and that's why I can recommend this film. It is very well made, the set designs are great, the acting is great, the humor, the action, and the horror all work together very well, and I think that this film is worth it. So guys, tell me what you thought about The Mummy. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Is it the best version of The Mummy out there or not? I think there's 4 different versions. There's the 32 one with Boris Karloff, there's the 70s one, which made by Hammer. Then there's the this one, and then there's the 2017 one with Tom Cruise, which went you know why? It wasn't having fun. This is definitely the most fun of all of them. Yeah, but tell me what you think about it. I honestly have a lot of nostalgia for this film, but I have seen people rip upon it and say it's not very good, so I don't know. Tell me what you guys think, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Voice 1. Hollywood, city of... Voice 1. I did the wrong word. What a weird way to speak. I don't remember what I wrote that for in the script, so I'm going to have to go through the movie and find out what wasn't safe and what wouldn't work. Damn.